All right, so we are all done. We just went through setting up our 508c1a ministry trust. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor for questions. So we went through, so if you guys have any questions on what we went through today, so we actually established our ministry trust, and then we got our tax exempt employer ID number, and then I showed you guys the process on how to get ordained. So now I'm going to open up the floor for any questions that you might have on any of the things that we just went through for the last 2.5 hours. So go ahead.
Does the CPA help us with any of this? Like if we, like say for instance, if it starts to be too overwhelming?
That's a good question. So in your emails, one of the hyperlinks is for the CPA that we recommend. Okay.
Okay.
So we recommend top tier accounting. And they will be able to help you with this process. So if you want to go ahead and acquire their services, you can. So you can click on the link in order to get their contact information, and then you can go from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Miss Patricia. Thank you, Miss Bay.
Oh,
All right.
wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's a lot of information. And I'm speaking in terms of this ministry, 503, 508. Now, as I was sitting here listening, I'm thinking to myself, okay, all of these people that need to be a part of this setup. And what if you don't have that initially? And this is just a thought, can you take the other trust, because they're entities, and make those entities members?
So, active members, or are you talking about officers on the board?
And I've got that. I think I've pretty well got that covered. So we're just saying active members then.
Uh,
and
so,
and they would make, you make donations through that, those entities.
yeah, so as far as the active members, I mean, there's no restrictions. To my knowledge, the active members are individuals, so they're not entities.
Okay.
So so with that being said, I I think that it would be possible if you were to put it inside of your constitution that you were allowing a member to be an entity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in there now. So that might be something for you to consider if you want to run it that way, to where you can have organizations be a part of your membership, because you get to govern yourself. So if you want to run it that way, you can.
Okay. That was it for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was just sitting here and I got to thinking, I said, well, I mean, they're entities, and if it's verbiage within the declaration that needs to be changed in order to make it happen, then that's what we do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let me see. So I saw a question in the chat from Marvia. So she put in the chat, does the grantor have to be the same person for all three? So the answer to that is no. So you can have different grantors for all three different entities, right? If you wanted to. It doesn't have to be the same individual. And then but it can be too. So if you want it to be the same, you can. If you want them to be different grantors for all three different trusts, you can set it up that way as well. can the name of the ministry trust be the same as the business trust and the family trust? No. So all three of these entities are different entities. And they need different names. So you cannot use the same name for all three. So all three of the trusts need to be named something unique and different and not the same. Let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions?
I'm gonna be booking an appointment with you soon
Okay, absolutely.
about the successor thing,
Successor,
and
okay.
also about the address when you come in.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All
One
right.
quick question,
Yes.
before you
Okay.
go.
Go for it.
When you were just doing the application, was that your social security number you had to put in?
You do. So if you are putting yourself as the authorized person, the only thing that they want is first name, last name, and social security.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
for whoever, and it doesn't have to be you and your information. It could be anyone associated with the trust. That is only for the 508. Moving forward, tomorrow we're going to do the EIN application for the business trust. And the responsible party has to be the grantor. So you want to choose a grantor that is going to be comfortable with giving you their social security number, because that is one of the requirements. So if you're choosing a grantor, right? One thing is that you don't want it to be someone who is so close to you, right? You want it to be kind of like someone who is distant. So if you could choose someone who's not related, that would be ideal. If you don't have any other option, then it's legally okay for you to choose a relative, but you want someone who preferably who is not related. So with that, they have to do two things. So they have to notarize the trust, and then they have to apply for the EIN. So those are the two things that they would be required to do in order to serve as your grantor. Okay.
And which trust is this you're speaking about?
So it's for the family trust and the business trust.
They
So
have to have a social security number?
yes, when you're applying for the EIN, and those are the for-profit entities. So it's not applicable for the one that we just went over. It's only applicable for the family trust and the business trust, which is the one that we will be going over on tomorrow and Friday. Okay. So
I was just wondering though, why do they need it for the private trust if it's supposed to be a family private trust?
oh, so that's only if you're applying for the EIN.
Oh,
So you do not need to get an EIN. The EIN is for banking purposes if you want, right?
right.
So I know people who they've had a trust for 30 years and they've never gotten an EIN and they never gotten a bank. But their trust very well owns their assets, owns their house, owns their car. So is it required? No, it's not. So if you don't feel comfortable with getting an EIN, that's fine. And like I told you, the alternative is if you want to apply for a 98 number. A 98 number is you applying as a foreign entity. And those instructions are inside of the email that you received from my assistant this morning, okay?
Yeah, I do have I do have the 9.8, but then that's why I had to mail it in or fax it in, because it wasn't registering. It needed a social security number for it to do that, you know. But yeah, that's what I gotta do. Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys want to go that route, just know that you have to do it manually, like Ms. Bay. You cannot do it online because the online application
It's gonna reject it. Yeah.
Yeah, it won't allow you to move forward.
Yeah.
you would have to do it manually, okay?
And you say we don't need an EIN? We can just really do our own trust identifier, right? Oh, well,
You
shit,
do
I
not,
don't even,
you do not need an EIN, but if you want a bank account for that trust, then it's very, 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 very hard to get a bank account without an EIN.
okay, okay, because, you know, if we open in a trust, the three trusts together, right, at the same bank, so the EIN and the Social Security, it's still not private because they're still gonna know who we are through the Social Security number. So is there any way to beat that, to go around that?
Yeah, so that's why I always tell people the alternative to go around that is the way that you're going, which is the 9/8. That's the alternative. Because
Okay,
you're not identifying your
a
yourself
social,
or
no,
your social.
right, okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, so I do have homework for you. So your homework is, so all of us should be inside of the Facebook group. And what I want you to do is, now we have already went through the setup process for our business trust on Monday, for our private family trust on Tuesday, and today we did our ministry trust. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go into the Facebook group and post when you are going to finish setting up your trust and get them notarized. So if it's this weekend, let us know it's this weekend so that we can hold you accountable, so that Dana can hold you accountable, so that I can hold you accountable, okay? And if you need any type of assistance with you getting your trust notarized, you can let us know. So one, I'm a notary. I don't mind doing it for you. And then Flo is also a notary. She doesn't mind notarizing trust for you guys as well, okay? So with that being said, I think I see two more questions. Hold on. Beverly, you have a question? Beverly? All right, so I'm not sure if Beverly has a question because you're still on mute, but I saw on the chat it says, does using an international address make this and the other entities foreign trust? So it does label them as a foreign entity, and that's why they give you the 9/8 number, because you're going to be using an address that is outside of the United States, but it's still a domestic trust. You're just registering it as a foreign entity. So it's still a domestic trust.
If I get it notarized in Florida, is it still, I'm still able to use it in any state?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So the domicile or the residency is the one that you choose. So if you're choosing Texas as the domicile, that's fine. If you get it notarized in Florida, that's also fine.
Okay.
All right. So Beverly said she couldn't unmute, but I hope I answered your question. Did I answer? Yes, thanks. Okay, great. All right. Yes, Marvia.
I'm thinking of a grantor and that person is in Florida and I'm in Georgia. Is it okay if it's not right there and I'm here in Georgia?
Yes, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people do that. So they're grantors. A lot of people, they're grantors in another state. That is perfectly fine. So what you want to do is you want to email them the pages of your trust that need to be signed, and then they'll print it out, and then they'll notarize it, and then they'll ship those signed pages to you. So that's usually the best way that it works. Unless you want to, do it the other way around, but that's ideal. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So I will meet you guys here on Zoom tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And before that, you will receive an email from Aya with the resources that we're going to need for tomorrow. Tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is we're going to apply for our EIN for our business trust. Okay, so if you want to do that live, while we're working together, then you're going to want to have that grantor information as the responsible party. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over business credit for the trust, and then we're going to establish our business credit profile for the business trust. And then we're going to go over our board meetings, okay? So we spoke a lot for the last 3 days about board meetings and how to run them. So I'm going to show you, we're going to actually have our board meetings for our entities. I'll show you what that looks like. And the board meeting that we're going to be conducting is for the operations of us actually opening up these trust funds or bank accounts. And then the last thing we're going to do is our promissory note so that we can document the loans that we're going to be either giving or receiving from the trust, okay? So that's everything that you're going to be receiving, all the resources and templates for tomorrow. That's what we're going to be going over tomorrow. So I will see you guys here on Zoom tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to hit the ground running. So you guys have a wonderful, amazing, and blessed day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Christina.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. You're
Y'all
welcome.
take care.
You too.